Good evening, good evening. We are back in full effect. I can't express it enough. We have missed you guys. I've been blowing up the Let's Unwind with the Evans Facebook page. If you are not following that page, go ahead and click the thumbs up to subscribe. We also have a YouTube channel, Let's Unwind with the Evans. So I wanted to go ahead and get that out there, my little plug. Go ahead and get that out there so you guys can go ahead and subscribe and not miss all this valuable information that we have to share.
All the valuable information.
Yes.
All the valuable information.
So I'm your host, Jessica Evans.
And I'm apparently her co-host, Tommy Evans.
Who can't seem to work the volume, but that's a blooper.
You ain't supposed to tell them that. What's up, y'all? It's good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody. We missed you guys a lot.
Absolutely.
Me in particular, the wife has kind of been holding it down a little bit for me, and I've been, all over the place. But shoot, we back home, man.
Yes, we are back in Charlotte. Oh man,
it's been a minute. It's been a minute, y'all. Almost 2 months since we've been home.
It has been.
It's been something. We've been on the road, been out and about, making things happen. But it's good to see everybody. It's good to be back on the air. Don't forget to tag and share. Let your family and friends know that we are on the air. Let them know that we are back in the building. As they say, we back in the building.
We are.
All that kind of good stuff. But it is good to see everybody. And we're going to have an awesome topic to discuss tonight. So we definitely hope that everybody is ready to tune in and make some things happen and dialogue and talk with us so we know, what's going on, where you're at in your neck of the woods and all that kind of good stuff there. But tell us a little bit about you, babe. You've been kind of handling things by yourself for the past few weeks. How did that feel? Talk to us. Tell us what that's like.
Well, I miss my husband, but they were, they missed you guys. They missed you.
They missed me?
Yeah, they missed you.
Sure, they missed me because, they love you.
They missed you.
I'm just your ride or die. Hey, Craig, how you doing? Thank you for jumping on, lady.
Hey, Crystal.
Good to see you.
Love you.
Is this one of her first times, watching our show?
I'm not sure.
While we're actually live.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think it is. It is.
I'm not going to lie on camera, Crystal. This may not be your first time, so I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to find.
It's like a delay that's happening for some reason.
No, I'm not looking for that. You can keep talking, babe.
Y'all hear it, right?
Or something else.
But we've been out and about all over the place, making some things happen. But we are definitely back in the building, as they say, with you guys. So we're ready to share, ready to talk and dialogue a little bit. Tonight's topic is going to be listening to understand, not listening to speak. That's going to be a big one. So again, we definitely need to make sure that you guys, get your better half, get your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, get whoever it is that you normally watch the program with.
Tag and share.
And let them listen in because, chime in even, because this is going to be one of those situations where they would need to definitely know how to communicate properly. Because if you don't know how to communicate properly, it defeats the whole purpose. So that's why we're going to be talking tonight about listening to understand, not listening to speak. Oftentimes when someone brings something to your discussion, what happens is you want to just quickly respond to what they're saying.
Right.
And that's a no-no. What you want to do is stop, pause, and listen.
But why is that a no? Why don't you want to listen?
Yeah, because what happens is in your wanting to just respond immediately, there's some very vital, important information you could be missing. There's some understanding that you could be missing. Mm-hmm. There's some compassion that you could be missing. And so we want you to understand that what you want to do, thanks for joining, Cam. What you want to do is you want to listen so that you can understand what the person is sharing with you. Yeah. You want to listen so that you can understand what mind frame or mindset that person is in. You want to listen so that you can understand where that person is coming from before you just automatically jump in and ready to just go ham or go off, because that may not even be the context of which that person is bringing something from.
Or even prove your point.
Yeah, so the point is, oftentimes what happens is you find yourself getting to a place of projection because you're thinking already for the other person and you're not allowing them to think for themselves and bring to you the issue at hand that needs to be brought up. So that's why tonight's topic is going to be very, very important. Yeah. And you want to get as many people as you can, to listen and dialogue with this, because it's very important that we get this information and the tools that we're going to be sharing to everybody.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, when you're in communication with your significant other, and it could be about a controversial thing that may have happened, or if you feel, however you feel about whatever topic is on the table, you already may have a defense mechanism already implanted inside of you, which shapes the way that you're thinking. It shapes the way your body language is presented. It shapes the mental, all of those types of things. It just shapes that. So it's very important to take a step back, like my husband stated. Take a step back and just truly assess the situation, and don't go in trying to prove your point. Understand that whoever is bringing the issue to the table, let's say it is an issue, if they're bringing the issue to the table, they have the floor. We stress this time and time again. Mm-hmm. We counsel so many different couples on a weekly basis. So we are telling these couples, you can't just approach that situation for what it is. This is not the time for you to talk about what transpired last week. Uh-oh. And why your significant other has no right to bring up this topic because they did it a week ago or they did it last month.
We can't bring up
not in the same. You can't counteract the two. Whatever is the primary topic and whoever brought it to the table, discuss that. If there is not a resolution, you don't bring in another topic. Oh, boy. So there has to be resolution, which also involves closure. If there is not resolution and closure to whatever issue, Gloria, then you don't bring it back. You don't bring your issue to the table. Now, having said that, if there is closure with that particular issue, and you want to discuss, okay, well, I'm glad you brought this issue to. Positioning is everything, y'all. That can save you. Look, I got my work hat on. Position, I'm quality assurance. So yeah, my husband has it down. I'm already being communicated, but you can save so much anguish with how you position a thing. So it's not to say, okay, so now we're done with your issue, so let me tell you about the issue I had. No. That's not how you present it. If you want to discuss your issue and after there's been closure, you say, you know what? I'm so glad you brought in sincerely. Don't do it sarcastically. Sincerely say, I'm so glad you brought that, to my attention. There are some things that I wanted to share, and maybe we can also come to a resolution with this because I don't want this to be another cycle of ours.
Now, can I bring? That's awesome. But now my question would be, why didn't you handle that issue to begin with? That you got to bring it up now. Mm-hmm. See, now, and I'm asking that because I want you to kind of process from that perspective. If it's something that should have been dealt with, now ain't the time to be going forward trying to get something to happen. See, that should have been done a long time ago. Oh man, you got a delay going for real. Yeah, it should have been happening a long time ago. So the fact that you are just now bringing it up, the question is, wait, well, what's happening there? See, and that's where you have to really process and understand that in communication, you're listening because you want to understand. I want to understand your position.
Right.
You know, and she mentioned positioning being very important. I want to understand your position. I understand when you're bringing this to me, what it is you're bringing and why you're bringing it, so that we can bring closure, not so that I can deflect, not so that I can shuck responsibility and put it back off on you,
right?
Not so that I can run from it, but so that I can find out and understand where you're coming from. That way we can, again, bring closure or a solution to the issue. And then we can move on, like she said, to a whole nother discussion. But the sincerity part is so very important because we have to be able to have what we call compassion. And compassion is the ability to say, okay, I understand completely why you feel that way. I understand completely why you're bringing this to my attention, and I have a resolution for the issue. See, that's
but
the
you have to
part.
state that, though. That's part of showing empathy. That's part of being connected. So internally, you could say, okay, I know why they're bringing this to my attention. I already know what I did wrong. I know what the issue, boom, boom, boom. But if you're just saying that and then you communicate a resolution or trying to solve the issue without at least connecting first.
Gotta connect.
Men are and my husband can attest to this, men are so much in resolution mode. They want to fix everything.
We're fixers.
So if we could minimize the length of this conversation with the resolution, they're going to do that so it's not drawn out. So they could be thinking, okay, well, I have the solution for that. Meanwhile, we're thinking of, yes, I want it to be fixed, but where was the empathy? Where was the connection? Where was the intimacy? There was none. It's almost like the relationship becomes a job. It becomes work, and it shouldn't always result in that. Yes, relationships, having healthy relationships does take work. It does take time. It does. It doesn't. It's not an overnight. It's not an overnight process. No. So it does take time to develop those healthy attributes and different healthy mindsets. There's so many different distorted mindsets we have from the past and what have been negative seeds sown into us with our upbringing. Our past experience molds us to who we are unless we actually go out and seek that help to become a better version of ourselves. I
mean, really, and that's the biggest key. That's why it's important to listen, to understand. Now, and what's interesting about that is I want us to process this. Listening to understand is broad. Okay, I'm a preacher, so watch this. Even when you're listening to a sermon, you want to listen to understand.
Yep.
See, oftentimes we hear something and immediately we're ready to just jump on something. Oh, that ain't what I was talking about. That ain't what I. And wait. Do you understand the full context of what's been? And so oftentimes in communicating in relationships, the biggest issue that happens, we know finances is a big problem. But behind finances is communication, because in most cases, you're not understanding the point of view that the other person is bringing to you. And so as a result, you are bringing your own, watch this, your own information to the table.
Yep.
And this person has other information sitting on the table that don't even coincide with each other. And then you go on the bed mad, now y'all ain't talking 14 days, you know, all this stuff going on. And it's like, wait a minute, when all you had to do was stop, breathe, and listen.
Yeah.
You know, like the fire, you know, they say stop, drop, and roll. So in this case, we can stop, breathe, and listen. And we need to learn how to listen to understand. Listen to make sure that we can connect. Listen to make sure that we have a proper understanding of where this person is coming from. And now that I have proper understanding of where this person is coming from, now I can bring, but watch it. Now I can bring resolution to the issue Not a deflecting mode. Hey there, Apostle Marcus. God bless you, sir.
Bro.
Thanks for jumping on. I hadn't seen you in a while. We finally made it back home, bro. And after all this time since March,
we are in Charlotte right now.
We finally got back to Charlotte. Man, it's been a minute. But listen, guys, that's the key. You've got to be able to understand that I want to understand my spouse. I want to understand my boyfriend, my girlfriend. I want to understand that person that I'm with, because the key is connecting. Mm-hmm. And so if we're having a discussion, especially a serious discussion, you can't shut down.
Serious based off of how you perceive. What's serious?
Well, see, and I was just getting ready to say, but serious is based on the nature of the topic at hand.
What if you think it's not serious because it happened such a long time ago?
Well, no, because remember we just mentioned you can't bring nothing back from the past.
No. What if it was never discussed, and now the person is like, okay, I want to have a check-in moment.
So watch this. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If it's important to her, it's important to me.
Yep.
Period. So I may not personally feel like it's of importance.
You can't go wrong with that philosophy.
But because she feels like it's important, then I have to adapt the philosophy at that moment that is important. Because if I feel like it's unimportant and she feels it is important, that's going to create a breach here.
Yep.
And later on, I'll feel the impacts of that breach because I'm not connected.
And the same thing with ladies as well. If he brings the issue to the table, don't just look to respond or say, well, let me make an excuse. Let me justify. No, justify. A lot of people justify the reason why they do what they do. Or why they responded, ladies, the way that they responded. I'm going to justify it. And men do the same thing. It's not gender.
We quick to do that.
Quick.
We don't roll the neck though, but we quick to do that. We quick to.
Might as well roll the neck.
We deflect. Men, we deflect.
Might as well roll the neck, right, ladies? But no, it's something that's not just gender.
What's the equivalent to rolling the neck for a man?
Well, you guys have a tone, so your pitch is everything. So you guys have it. Women, by our nature makeup, cannot get deep. When you guys how y'all talk, your vocal tone, that is something that's why children don't listen. Well, I'm serious. You acting like your tone don't matter, and it does matter.
Boy, that's why children, down here
right. Now. Well, you have to do a little bass deeper than that. But
talk with your chest.
Y'all got it. So that's why, from an authority and reinforcement, that's why daddy comes to reinforce what mom said. Okay, and that's a reason behind that, because we're telling, we could yell, I'm not saying we don't, but with that vocal tone, the deepness of it, man.
So that's the equivalent of our neck roll.
It's the equivalent.
Okay. I mean, but that's just it, guys. We gotta be able to connect, and we've gotta be able to communicate in a way. Listen, here, what we're sharing with y'all tonight is big boy magic. It's big boy stuff. That means maturity. So we've got to be mature in our response, because what's happening is a lot of relationships are being impacted through immaturity.
Yes.
Okay, so it's the immaturity that makes things happen where you respond and you don't even understand the full nature behind what's going on.
Yep.
So you've got to be in a position to be mature. And that's why, when we do these topics, listen, these are kind of, nuggets, tools that we're kind of trying to share with you, so that when this show is over and this week something happens and you have to have a discussion, you have it appropriately, because as we like to say all the time, it's about fighting together, not fighting each other.
Amen.
And so when you understand how to fight properly, then you can begin, hey, Alicia, Island Empire, what's up, lady? But once you learn to fight together, the rest of life becomes so much easier for you, because you're growing together. But most of us have never been taught these tools. We've never been taught to listen, to understand.
Yeah.
So before I throw my hands up to deflect, before I put my boxing gloves up, ready to throw more punches, before I'm ready now to bring a whole nother topic to the table, I've got to understand your position.
And that's why I said positioning is so very important, because you can still present your issue in such a way where it doesn't come off as an attack. And it also comes across like we're a team, right? So I want us to win. I want us to conquer. I don't want us to go in cycles. Cycles isn't progression, right? So if we keep on doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to get burnt out, we're going to get tired, and we're not going to see forward progression, because we can't calculate that. All we've been doing is going in cycles. So it's easier from the cycle perspective to throw in the towel. Yeah. I give up. This isn't working. Let's get a divorce. Let's move out. Let's go ourselves. Walking away is the most easiest thing you could do when your mind is made up. That's the most easiest thing you could do. But sticking in it to fight is very important. And sometimes it doesn't take both parties to fight. It just takes one person to say, I'm fed up, not of the other person. Mm-hmm. I'm fed up because of me. Yeah. I'm tired of looking at my raggedy self in the mirror. I don't got it all together. I'm not perfect. So by virtue of me seeking healing, by virtue of me trying to move forward and have, prosperity in my life in every single area, it requires a change in me. Mm-hmm. So whatever change is going on within me as I'm seeking this healing, our relationship is the byproduct of that, right? Because now I'm going back into the relationship a new person. Every single day, there's a step forward in the right direction, but it's a step that you didn't see before.
But guess what? Understanding, if she's making change and she's making steps in a different direction, what did she say? The whole relationship's going to be impacted.
Yes.
Then that means
Hi, Chris.
I've got to be in a position of change myself. Otherwise, as she's growing, watch this, she's growing apart from me.
Yep. So
this is why when one person decides to make change, both parties need to be involved. Because the reality is this, you taught each other how to deal with each other. When you came into your relationship broken, you put all your brokenness on him or her. Now all of a sudden you want to heal. Well, guess what? They don't know to heal you. They only know the broken you. Yeah. They only know the you that was going off. They only know the you that would jump to conclusions. They only know the you that was untrustworthy. So now they got to find a whole nother way to deal with the new you, which means that they've got to be a new them.
Yes.
Because this whole thing now is, and this is what we miss. This is why even when it comes to counseling, I get frustrated when one person wants to do counseling and the other person doesn't. Listen, one person cannot change in a two-person relationship. Both parties have to be involved. As a matter of fact, not just both parties, all parties have to be involved. If there's kids, the kids have to learn a new way of dealing with you now. And you got to learn a new way to deal with the kids.
But I don't want anyone to lose hope. That is the only one who wants counseling, but your significant other is like, no, I don't want counseling. You still do your counseling because it's for you. And they're going to see the change. They're either going to level up or they're going to walk out. Either way, it's a blessing.
Boom.
Either way, either option, whether you choose to stay here while I'm really developing this self-worth, while I'm healing and all of that.
Old school. Stuff. This is Kobe. I'm old school Lakers.
You're going to interrupt me for Kobe.
Yeah, Sean. I'm
old school
Kobe. Old school Kobe. That's how we do. He said I got to take my Lakers off before he can receive the message.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But no, just not a Lakers fan like that. But no, what I was saying though is the fact that don't lose hope just because you're interested in counseling and the other person is not. So yes, to my husband's point, ideally everyone involved should get counseling and should want it, right? Yep. But reality says a lot of people are not about living to their greatness, but living to their comfort level. Okay? So that has nothing to do with you. Remove you out of the equation, they still gonna be raggedy. Okay? They're still not going to want change. Okay? Because if you don't want to heal, you're raggedy.
What?
If you want to inflict pain on someone else, you're raggedy. Knowing you may have not given
them. Just say immature.
Raggedy. I'm gonna need raggedy.
Listen.
This is what happens when we off the air. See, y'all gave us a pass to be off, and
what happens is, but to her point, the reality is this: 50% of a relationship is better than 0%. So if one person does not want to do it and the other person does, that means at least 50% of that couple wants to better themselves. And to her point, which is absolutely true, as you begin to grow and mature, either that person is going to recognize what's happening and decide to jump into that mature relationship with you, or they got to go. I mean, and it's just there's no two ways around it. Hey, Martha. There's no two ways about that. It's going to be one way or the other. But the object is to understand that as you're bettering yourself, everybody in your circumference, everybody in your sphere of influence, everybody becomes impacted by your change, whether it's a good change or a bad change. And that's the thing about life, where a lot of time we live selfishly because we don't think about the impact that everybody around us is having as a result of maybe our action,
our raggediness,
our choices.
Look, I can call whoever don't want healing raggedy, because I had raggedy moments in my life that I thought were functional. I was operating dysfunctionally and making it functional. Listen.
But it was
all
raggedy.
You're doing is, it was raggedy. It was immaturity, but it was raggedy, because ultimately, if you do not want the best for you, and the best for you is getting that healing outside, most people don't want to enter counseling because they feel like, okay, I have an aunt with my significant other. I don't like them. Very much not even in love with them. I don't really like them right now.
Most people don't want counseling because they don't want to be told about themselves.
Well, right. But a second part is, you think that if the person who you don't like right now and have not liked, y'all live in one upstairs, one downstairs, y'all not even sleeping in the same room together, okay? So if this person is coming to you saying, oh, I want us to go to counseling, I'm not going to receive that from, so you think you hurting them, but reality is you're hurting yourself.
Raggedy.
That's raggedy. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many different ways of really, you have to think about everyone's situation is different.
Martha just said it. When one person changes, everyone elevates.
Yes.
Or the lack of everyone. And that's ultimately what we're saying. That's why it's important that you understand for your relationship. And we're talking about listening to understand, not listening to speak. You gotta learn how to listen.
Yes.
Listening is not something that's just done automatically. Mom and dad in most cases don't teach you how to listen. You ever
don't
remember?
Talk back.
I was getting ready to say, growing up, they did. Don't talk back. Don't you say nothing. What didn't I tell you? I mean, why do you go to the store? Why did you not go to the store? Did you not? I'm asking you a question. What you told me, don't say nothing. Shut up. Look.
Why are you? But no, my mom was a smart aleck. She had me go to the dictionary, one time. You know what I'm talking about? That's for my brother CJ. But no, she had me go to the dictionary. She said that was a rhetorical question. The heck is rhetorical? So all I got, I'm in elementary school, so I'm like rhetorical. Okay, so it's a question. So I'm answering the question. Oh, you're trying to be a smart aleck. No, you said it was a rhetorical. That means don't respond. Well, why didn't you just say that? That's just so much. That makes.
Your mom and dad didn't teach you how to listen. And this is why when many of you got in relationships, your relationship suffered because you didn't know how to listen. And so as your significant other was trying to communicate you his or her feelings, you weren't in a position of listening and understanding what they were saying.
Yes.
So because you didn't understand what they were saying, You maybe came off
Hey,
the rip
Shantae,
with something
Jess.
completely different. Shantae, Jess, how y'all doing? Anisha, Martha,
I love
you right.
you guys.
I mean, so it's all about understanding what she mentioned earlier, the positioning of the person. What is this person's position? Maybe this person is hurt by something that you've done, and you don't want to acknowledge the hurt because maybe you're stubborn, or maybe you're just
You haven't forgiven
you're
yourself.
insensitive. Maybe you're egotistical. Maybe you're prideful. See, everything that I just mentioned now is like, well, wait a minute. That means you're not connecting with the other person. So maybe they're hurt and they're trying to express something to you from their hurt. They're saying, look, I hurt. And they just can't say in those words, I hurt. You hurt me. But they say something and now you're not in a position of listening. It is something. But Martha said, you got her 16-year-old cracking up. Because she on this raggedy thing tonight. I don't understand it. She just on this raggedy tail. I'm like, really? Ellen said a lot of people take it personal, like you're attacking them versus explaining it. And listen, that goes back to the maturity thing. Because when somebody brings something to you, if you're listening, you will understand if it's an attack or not. It's not an attack, but the reason most people feel that way is because you're bringing something to them that's maybe negative about themselves. And nobody ever wants to look at themselves in a negative light. So the first reaction that we get is what? Defend yourself.
Gaslighting.
So now, what's that called?
Gaslighting.
Ooh, I mean, now I'm defending myself.
What I was going to say, though, I'm not calling y'all raggedy, okay?
You just called half the world raggedy.
No, I call half the world. They are raggedy. Our followers, though, y'all are not raggedy because you guys are receiving this information. Most of y'all are on here every single week. So y'all are not raggedy at all because y'all are getting it.
What's up, Rick? Yeah, y'all not raggedy.
Y'all not raggedy.
Y'all not raggedy.
But don't go tell people they raggedy that don't watch our show. Just tell them in a nice way. Yeah, you know what? You should go follow that page. Let's Unwind with the Evans. If they raggedy, just tell them they good.
Oh my God.
Positioning, y'all, because I'm trying to help you with positioning.
No, but the reality is nobody wants to see the negative side of themselves. And when when we're presented with something that's unlike what we think it should be, hey, it's like, hold on a second. Who do you think you are? So now this defensive thing kicks in, and this is where maturity goes, because when you mature, you have to watch this. I've got my Kobe Bryant jersey on. Kobe was one of my favorite athletes of all time, one of them. But Kobe was one of those individuals who, watch it. The reason why coaches loved Kobe was because not only could the coach come to Kobe and tell him what he did wrong, but in most cases, Kobe was such a perfectionist, or he wanted to be great to the point, listen what I said, he wanted to be so great. He wanted to be the greatest. He wanted to be so great that he would critique himself. He would find his own negativity. He would find out what his biggest weakness was. Most of us we don't think that way. To say, wait a minute, let me find out. So when you come to the table, you bring everybody your best representation. Okay, I'm going to give you, I'm in my 3-piece suit. I've got my fresh haircut. You're not going to come in with the nap showing. You're not going to come in with the weave halfway done. You're not going to come in, ladies, without the makeup on. You're going to come in completely made up. You got the heels on. The stockings is just right. You got everything in place. And that's the you that you see all the time. But you don't want to deal with the real you, which comes with ugliness, which comes with a mole, which comes with freckles, which comes with a stretch mark, which comes with a kink, which comes with some grade. See, but if we really had a mindset kind of like a Kobe did, we would bring to our relationship, wait a minute, you know what? This is an area I need to change for myself. Coach don't have to bring it to me. I can bring it to coach. Baby, I spoke wrong to you when I said that. I did this wrong and I did that wrong. That's a mature perspective to take. But we don't want to take the mature perspective. Then when coach comes to us and says, hey, this is what's going to be a better move for you to help the team, we get offended. It's about team building. We're trying to grow the team, not grow the individual.
I love how my husband uses his examples to demonstrate, right? I love that. But I ain't gonna keep on hearing about no Kobe on Let's Unwind. Like, what's up with that? I didn't approve this, okay?
Kobe, y'all, forgive my wife. She'll be all right. She'll be all right. She's delusional in who she likes in basketball, and that's fine. I've understood that. I pray for her. I'll let it be what it is. But we have to be able to grow and develop and understand what our strengths and our weaknesses are.
Yes.
And the key is you've got to know yourself. You've got to know yourself. And this is the problem that many people have when they get into a relationship. We counsel many people. And I can't tell you how many people will sit there and point the finger. As a matter of fact, babe, tell them about how when we were in counseling, and like you were talking about, you just kind of had, the whole mirror thing going, and you were bringing all my problems to the table. What happened? See, thank you, Martha. She said the GOAT is the best reference. See, I knew there was somebody out there that knew.
Martha, come on now. You know not what you speak. Jesus. Okay, but no. So when we were in counseling, you guys, check it out. See what we not gonna do. Love you, Martha. But no, it was a little distraction on the screen. I had to get myself together. But no, when we were in our counseling session, there was actually a lot of different things going on in our relationship. Raggedy to its purest form. That's why I can speak on it. So when we attended counseling, first off, I didn't want to attend counseling because I just had this distorted way of thinking how the counseling session was going to go. Right. So I'm like, okay, no, I don't need counseling. It is what it is. Or can I have counseling outside? Because it was like a group counsel. And I said, let me have it on the back end. I don't want to be involved, because, and that's why I could speak to the person who created the ought against you. If they bring counseling, or if they're a part of the same counseling, you're like, you know what? No, I don't want to be in the same room. But all you're doing is hurting yourself. So when we actually did go through that and get into counseling, yes, because I was so hurt, there were certain things that were done to me that I just exploded, right? Because every single thing there was a lot of hiding going on both ends, but there was a lot of hiding, and I was hiding from the perspective of I didn't want to be the nagger, right? So I allowed the course of this relationship, about 2.5 years, really. We never argued, y'all. That ain't me. Because there was plenty of red flags that I just didn't say nothing. I'm like, how did we survive? And he was the only one I was dating, ladies, at the time. I'm like, who doesn't? But I did not. Some of y'all are like, what? You didn't. So when we got into counseling, it was like a balloon bursted. So yes, I was just getting everything out, right? Everything out within the whole year. So yes, it got to the place where my husband, at the time, he wasn't my husband, but it got to the place of he was feeling attacked, right? So his guard was going up. His guard was already up because, his guard was already up. I'll let him tell his version. But yeah, when I was explaining all of this, yes, there was truth to it, but what I didn't understand was the root behind the actions. Right. And when I understood the root, and he couldn't tell me the root behind the actions because I was too hurt to, I would have been kind of like projecting like, okay, well, you're just making excuses. You're just, yeah. So it took a third party. That's why we're advocates for counseling. It took a third party to say, no, you can't ignore this. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear, the upbringing, the past hurt? Did you hear all of that? Yeah, I heard that, but still, it's not no but still. Did you? So it was one of those things to where we had the toughest counselors. Oh, we had them. Roger Jenneret, Yolanda Jenneret. If y'all know, listen, they were no games. Yolanda especially, rest in heaven. But
Yolanda would come. But no, but
did I share?
No, you did. Because in that, I was also thinking about when you didn't think that you necessarily had any issues or anything, and you was just kind of like, but then as we started going through our course of training.
Yeah, I started seeing more, and again, it wasn't from the perspective because I didn't argue with him before counseling. So when we got to counseling, it wasn't so much we were arguing back and forth. That wasn't what got us. It was just when everything transpired, it hit me. So it wasn't going back and forth. It was none of all of that. All the drama, that wasn't us. That wasn't our story. But what transpired with me, with how I was thinking and processing, was the fact that, okay, no, my upbringing had a lot to do with this. My past relationship, hurts that I experienced with that, they weren't actually healed. Those bruises, those hurts, trauma, all of that was not healed.
See,
so in reality, what I was trying to do is love from a broken place. And I can't love my husband, who I didn't know was my husband at the time, and you couldn't tell me was my husband at the time. Hello. What? Can I be real? I mean, it's Let's Unwind with the Evans. You couldn't tell me. But I realized that a lot of the processes, a lot of the unrealistic expectations I had, all of that is what I really had to understand. So that's why with our Let's Unwind with the Evans, we do a singles edition. And we invite singles to come on because and we're actually a part of it. So we're on the panel ourselves, but from a single person, because I was single most of my life, right? He was married most of his adolescence, right? So there's a certain even mindset that I had most of my life that he didn't even experience, right? So bringing that into the singles panel, it gives the opportunity for them to kind of glean off of a married couple to see, okay, you know what, that is wrong. And that's not the way I should be thinking or going about it. But back, the topic at hand, slow to speak, eager to understand, I had to show compassion where I was broken. And understand that is the most hardest thing you would feel like doing at that time. Compassion.
But you have to.
I'm the one who's hurt. I'm the one who's betrayed. I'm the one. Doesn't matter. There were two broken people trying to love and do the best.
Do the best that they could
do. The best that they could do.
In their brokenness. But the key to what she said is that she was broken trying to love. And so it was easy to point the finger at me.
It's stupid.
It was easy to point the finger at me and say, oh, you're doing this. Oh, you're doing that. Than it was to say, really, I have some unresolved stuff going on internally. And it wasn't until we went through counseling that she was able to understand that I've got some things. And so, even in some of our counseling sessions, when we deal with some people, we try to get them to understand this, right? Even though you're coming in as a couple, this is about you individually because you're broken.
Yeah.
And we want to help fix you individually and fix the other individual so that together you'll make up a great relationship. But because we are quick to respond and not understand, a lot of people are like, well, you just want to deal with me and you're talking about me. And no. We are, but there's a reason, because we need you to understand that there's some growth that has to take place in you in order for this relationship to be what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, whether you're in this relationship or 20 other relationships, you're still going to have the same problem.
You're still going to be the problem.
You're still going to have the problem. And that's where growth and maturity comes in at. And we really have to understand what is transpiring and what's going on. I love that. All right, so we have to nurture each other through the hurt. See, that's an area a lot of people don't understand.
Oh, no.
That takes a lot of maturity, because watch this. And we say this all the time in our counseling session. Change takes place over time. It doesn't take place overnight. You want people to change immediately, but they may not change immediately. Let's put it this way. And my wife said it so amazingly. She lived a lot of years as a single person. So she had a single mindset for a long time. She had a single mindset for much longer than she's been married. So it's going to take time for her mindset to adjust to the time she's been married. And so for a lot of us, we try to get people to change, and we don't understand that change is happening in little areas, in little things, in little small places of time. But we have to give that person time because they have developed a habit, they have developed a mindset, they have developed a certain level of consistency. And within that consistency, now we're asking them to change it. So little by little by little, those changes are going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we've got to learn how to listen to understand. It's not the worst thing in the world is to listen because you just want to give a response. Yeah, but I feel bad and I want you to know how I feel. We know how you feel, but you're not listening.
Yeah.
But you don't understand. She only gonna be sly talking about me. Ain't nobody talking about you. You jumped on our show. We didn't jump on yours.
Ain't nobody talk about you.
That's good. That's awesome. But
thanks for sharing that you can relate.
Yeah, that part. But the key, guys, is that we've got to be able to listen to understand. Yeah. What is the other person's position? Where are they coming from? Yeah. What is their mindset? What is their disposition? How are they feeling in when they do what they do? See, if we don't listen to understand, we miss all of that. All because we just want to give our perspective. This is how I feel, or this is what happened to me. No, there's two people involved. And so like I just said, she had to learn through her situation that, hey, and so what's funny is when we finally got to the core of the issue, that's when we began to find out about all of the brokenness that she had. Yeah. She wasn't even aware of the fact that she had brokenness. And let me say that because, she's so intelligent, beautiful, love my boo, but she's my kid. But she's so driven. So there's a lot of things that she does so right. But she never was able to acknowledge what she wasn't doing. And it wasn't until we got in counseling that she began to see what she wasn't doing, that all of a sudden the heat stopped being on me. And she was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. Oh my God, I can't believe I thought like this. Oh my God, I can't. And it was like, well, Dad. And then my eyes were open. I was like, well, I didn't know you was, I didn't know that you. And it was really that type of thing that was really amazing, because it's like, yo, wait a minute. That's why we all have brokenness. There is not, wholeness comes from healing. Wholeness comes from counsel. Wholeness comes from, prayer, meditation, and all of those things. But wholeness doesn't happen until you mature. Yeah. But by and large, most of us come into relationships broken.
So what would you, because I think, and this could be a biased statement I'm getting ready to say, but when a woman is hurt, she might have been an introvert. She might have not been big on communication, but let her get hurt. She got a lot of words to say, okay? So what would you say? What would you, at some point it's going to come out. What would you say for men to be able to practice understanding versus speaking, especially if a woman is coming from that perspective of being heard?
For us, as I say all the time, it's not normal or it's not natural for us to be in connection with our feelings. So the first thing we would have to do is try to connect with our feelings aspect. That includes vulnerability. So in order to, if this woman is going off, you got to ask yourself, okay, one, why is she going off? Is there validity to her going off? So now there's ownership and responsibility in that. Let me take ownership for whatever I may have done or whatever the situation is. Let me own that. Yes. Now that I own that, I've got to connect with her and understand the hurt behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But that again takes maturity. We don't want to acknowledge our bad selves. We don't want to take responsibility when we do something wrong. So that's the first thing as a man, I think that we would have to really take ownership. Hey, babe, you know what? That's my bad. I wasn't even thinking when I did that.
Yeah.
And I can understand how hurt that is to you. And the problem is we don't process from the hurt place, the feeling, the emotional side. We don't process from that place. We just immediately go off in our own tangent. We deflect. We downplay. You know, we just kind of, because watch this. As men, we just want the argument to be over.
That's what I said. Just wanting to fix it.
Yeah, we just want it to be over. So whatever it takes to get it over with, you know, the connection is important. You don't just say, okay, that's it. You say, okay, because I just want it to be over. I don't want to. But we have to first take ownership and accountability and then say, okay, there's a reason behind this. And that's the connection. She's hurting because I know the hurt, I can deal with the change. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to change because I don't want to hurt you again.
And we could spend the next few minutes discussing when men actually express their vulnerability.
Ari, don't just save this live, share this live, girl.
When they express their vulnerability, know that is not in their nature.
It's not normal
to do. So the worst thing as a woman, as their lady, you could do is shut them down in their vulnerability. Because all it takes is you shutting them down one time, and they're going to remember that one time, and it's going to be kind of harder to get them to open back up. So ladies, I would even take off the lenses of, okay, well, this happened because XYZ, or maybe if you didn't do this, I wouldn't have XYZ. Take off all of the deflection and just really hear his heart, because when a man, it's one thing a woman bringing something to the table, which sometimes, depending on what person you're with, it can come off dismissive. Their attitude about it can come off very dismissive because you're a woman. Women are just emotional. We get a rap for that. Women are just emotional. So whatever we bring to the table, it's not serious. Okay, that's why your relationship is the way that it is. And that's why you're going in cycles. So we get that. But when a man brings something to the table, not saying your issue or whatever, your vulnerability is not as equally important, but you have to understand that one is a sacrifice for a man.
Because it's not natural.
Vulnerability for a woman is not a sacrifice. We could call our girl, you know what? I just did this. I just did that. There ain't no vulnerability involved in all that. We can express easily. But for a man, the closest person outside of his parents would be the woman that he's laying right next to. And for you to shut him down, so that's why you have to be slow to speak, slow to deflect, and actually open your hearts to be able to receive what he's saying.
The Bible says, be quick to hear and slow to speak.
I'm an advocate for letters. My husband and I used to do that. We need to go back to doing that, actually. That's one of the key ways so that words don't get lost in transit, emotions and all that. That's a great way to communicate. But again, we're trying to teach maturity, and maturity does come in communicating vocally. So we really want, both, even the introverts, and Ari mentioned earlier about being an introvert, even the introverts, you got to talk sometime. You can't always just, and so that's why we really have to learn to talk and share. But to my wife's point, if you're at the level of writing letters, do that. Do it big. Do it big. Do 4-page, do 6-page letter. Level up on it.
Yeah,
until you're able to get. Right. So I don't despise the day of small beginnings. I don't.
She's in the heat, maturity is hard.
So and that's the perspective I was saying. There was a reason for the letter writing. We used to do that. My husband and I, believe it or not, I know you guys see us doing this show. We're all smiles, we laugh, and we goofy. Listen, it took hell to get to where we are today. It took some crying, some long nights it took to get to this place to where we are today. So from that perspective,
long nights,
from letters being written, that was the level we were at. And it's not to say your relationship, I'm not saying your relationship is bad or your marriage is bad or anything like that. But from a maturity perspective, if everything you say gets misconstrued, it's not you. That person just cannot accept their bad self. Okay. So if that person cannot accept their bad self, just write it down a letter.
She back to that raggedy, y'all.
I didn't say raggedy.
No, you were there. She was there. If they can't, that's just them. They just no,
they can't accept
but it's all and that's why I stress so much that it's all about maturity. Yeah. We our job is to try to mature people as much as possible in areas where there is immaturity, and a lot of people are immature in communication. Think about this. Isn't it amazing? And my wife made a great point. Isn't it amazing, ladies, that you can talk to other ladies without a problem? But then when it comes to your man, you got to roll necks and go through changes. Why is it that you can't communicate in the same level with him that you can with her? I mean, and that's I get it, because maybe you're frustrated or maybe you're upset about a thing, but there's still that same level of what I call respect that you want to show in communicating when you're trying to bring something to the table.
Are you asking that question, or was that rhetorical?
Yeah, let me get the dictionary. No, that's rhetorical. Okay, but it does. Listen,
again. See, I was slow to speak. I just asked him one question. Was that rhetorical? It was rhetorical. Okay, I ain't gonna respond. I'm eager to understand. So it wasn't rhetorical. Okay,
she was ready to snap back. That's what that was. You ready to snap?
No, I was gonna give you clarity.
But the key is when those Denise just said, during those difficult times, it's hard to exhibit maturity.
Yes.
But now, and I love, she said, this Leo Aquarius relationship was raggedy, but we're wonderful now. We told y'all we put the capital R in raggedy. It's something, man.
Thank you, Rick.
But because of it, we're able to share, with people now and get them to understand, what's going on and how, again, we try to just bring tools to the table to help you as you move forward. Tonight, we simply talked about listening to understand, not listening just to speak. Too many people have messed it up because all they wanted to do was talk when someone else was talking, or they just wanted to deflect, or they just wanted to put it off, or they just wanted, and it's not, it's about hearing. Let me hear what you are really saying. Watch this. Let me not hear your voice. Let me hear your heart. See, and that's the key. If I can hear beyond your voice to hear your heart, now I can connect with your heart. But most people aren't concerned with connecting with the heart because they're just connecting with the voice. And the voice could lead you astray. My wife mentioned about pitch and volume and how men get the deep voice. Girl, it's like, okay, see, you hear beyond the voice, hear the heart. And if you can hear the heart, you'll hear the vulnerability. You'll hear the brokenness.
You'll hear my heart.
You'll hear that little boy, that little girl. I heard your heart, baby. You'll hear all of those things that are not
up for greatness.
Yeah. Have a good night. You put yourself in position to hear all of the things that they're not saying.
So you're gonna hear my heart.
I'm gonna hear your heart.
You gonna hear my heart?
I'm gonna hear your heart.
What? You gonna hear my heart next time, y'all?
So you set yourself up to be able to connect, but you have to hear the heart, because again, a lot of times most of you miss the heart because you hear these other things and your mindset already takes you somewhere else. But you're not hearing the heart. You're not hearing, again, the brokenness. You're not hearing that little girl. You're not hearing that little boy. You're not hearing that person who's fearful.
Yeah.
All you're hearing is their voice. You're hearing their lies. Yeah. You're hearing the other stuff, the raggedy.
That's a big one.
But you want to get beyond that and hear the heart of the individual that's talking to you. When you hear the heart, you connect it on a way like nothing else on this planet.
So we hope this has
That's it,
blessed you.
When you hear the heart, you'll stop running to the forest. Oh my God.
Yes. Look at you. Look at you.
No, Rick.
Proud moment. Chaps. But no, you guys, we hope this has blessed you all. We hope that you're able to apply these tools to your marriage, to your relationships, even to your dating style. Maybe your dating style was raggedy, and now this actually puts you in the mindset of, okay, let me not just listen to what the guy is saying, and let me dig deeper.
Let me hear his heart.
Look, I'm big on digging deeper.
I don't want to hear his voice. I want to hear his heart.
Because men will only do surface when they're getting to know you. Okay,
well,
you're not getting the vulnerability off the first date. You're not. So it's up for the ladies to know when and how positioning to dig deeper. And that also is exchanged with vulnerability. So if you're exchanging your vulnerability, he feels safe to share his, and then it's a reciprocated thing when you're dating.
From us, right? You're going to get deeper, all right?
So yeah, we're going to get deep. All right, you guys, have a good night.
Hey, y'all have a good one. We miss y'all again. We back, y'all.
We back.
We back. Y'all have a great night.
Before we leave, we have a special edition Friday. Yes, this Friday, Real Talk with the Singles will be on.
Yes.
So tune in. It'll be at 7 o'clock on Friday.
Eastern
Good
time.
night.
7 o'clock Eastern. Y'all have a great night again. Peace out. We love y'all. Y'all be cool. Deuce.